Hey, Beau, how can I trust people more?
So trust is so essential that we should just continue to have a whole episode, and I'd love to hear more about your thoughts about trust. But I would argue that trust is possibly the most important perception we have of ourselves, of the world, of another person, that actually enables us to live a life. Your brain cannot live without trust. Every moment of every day, you're trusting other people, you're trusting yourself, you're trusting your body, the chair that I'm sitting on, the table, the people in the other cars driving past you or towards you, the buildings, the architecture, the engineering of the buildings. We're constantly trusting people all the time. And in my last recording, I asked the question, what would happen if we actually lived our life um, with this awareness? And I'm not saying we should trust everybody. I'm saying what would happen if we became aware of the fact that we already do and we also need to, most importantly. So now I want to take another stab at this question of how can we increase our trust in other people? And I think one of the most important ways to increase our trust in other people is to increase trust in ourselves. So often, in my experience, both in loving relationships and friendships or whatever, I find that the people who are the least trusting are the ones who actually behave in a way that is actually unreliable. They are themselves not trustworthy. And I have the sense that your brain kind of knows when it's honest with itself. And when we behave in a way and we kind of feel unreliable, we often will project that onto other people and assume that other people are like us and also unreliable. Another example is that when someone is dishonest, when you're dishonest, uh, and if it's something that is not common for you, you'll get a part of your brain that's active, and that part of the brain is sort of encouraging you to feel that guilt, to feel bad about the fact that you lied. And when I hear people telling me that as some sort of a moment of empowerment that I don't feel guilt, it's like, oh my God, I mean, how can I trust you? Because if you don't feel guilt, how are you actually going to learn from your mistakes? How are you going to feel bad about the fact that you intentionally or unintentionally hurt someone? You're not going to feel guilt for that. Now, there's a big difference between guilt and shame and other feelings, but why wouldn't you feel bad? So, people who don't feel bad about being dishonest, what happens is that when you get away with a dishonesty, whether it's small or large, that part of your brain that actually makes you feel negative decreases. You do it again, it decreases. Do it again, it decreases. Your brain, again, is like a muscle. Use it, lose it. It's constantly adapting to what's normal. So your brain will then come to learn that lying and getting away with it is normal. And in fact, eventually you actually start getting activation in reward centers for the fact that you told a mistruth, you got away with it, and so you will increase the probability of you doing that again. At the same time, you will also start feeling that stress because what your brain also needs is that sense of integrity, that sense of predictability. And your brain actually knows when it's being self dishonest. So, how can we increase the trust in other people? One of the key mechanisms is to increase the trust in you for you. Are you not just using wonderful words, not saying I love you or saying that you want to look after the people that you're in service of, right? Those are all wonderful words, very important, very potentially very powerful. But also, and then we have our intentions. We have our intentions to do good. Okay, also essential. Having good intentions is very important. But words and intentions by themselves become not only meaningless, they can actually become negative in your life if they're not followed by actions. Okay? Your brain is embodied. Your brain lives in a body and a body in your world. This is how your brain makes meaning by aligning its words, intentions, and then actions. And when your actions follow those words and intentions, then you get that instantiation within your brain, and you start feeling more reliable, and you're more likely to project that reliability and trust in other people. What's more, you're less likely to tolerate a lack of alignment between that trust, between those words and intentions and actions. So how can we trust other people? One is by looking not just at other people, but at yourself. Are you behaving in a way that is trustworthy? And let me tell you, if you do, your sense of anxiety is going to go down. Your sense of well-being is going to increase. Your perception of other people will improve. Okay? So try to align your words, intentions, and your actions.